The Stack. People, Business, Technology. With Dan Tomaszewski of Everything MSP.
Hello, everybody. Dan Tomaszewski here with Everything MSP. Welcome to another episode of The Stack, where we focus on people, business, and technology. I am here with my good friend Alex Farling with Empath. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Dan. I'm just trying to stay awake after a couple of long days here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I tell you, I think back to when we first met. It was, well, we're going to be going on 6 years this coming March.
So was COVID.
You know, when we think about
Life
COVID,
was weird.
it's strange. I mean, all of a sudden, I remember we're all moving out of our offices, moving back home. And I said, I'm like, you know, I'm going to throw out to the Facebook group, who wants to jump on a call and talk about this whole COVID thing, you know? And we had an overwhelming response, and it turned in from, you know, like a one-time call turned into daily. Like in the first few weeks, you know, we were going at 7 days a week, like we did on the weekend, just because, you know, it was one of those situations that we needed to talk about it.
It was scary in the beginning. Like, none of us knew what that meant for our business.
No,
It was, and for our families and for everything else. But, you know, we're trying to keep our families together, trying to help everybody figure out what this means. Is your business open or closed? Are you critical or non-critical? Like, you get to work from home, or are you one of the poor people who has to just go figure it out?
Right.
And as MSPs, we touched every part of that.
You know, and for you guys, I mean, you were just launching a startup. I mean, I could not imagine. And it favored very well, you know, it like things, it
worked for us.
Yes.
I still owned the MSP at the time too, so I was running an MSP and building Lifecycle Insights. I didn't sell the MSP till the end of 2020. So, you know, for that whole first year of just craziness, I was trying to figure out if my MSP was going to the office or not, and trying to figure out how, with DattoCon and IT Nation and you know, all the big conferences shut down, how we were going to launch a startup in the channel.
Yeah.
Which just so happens that we were really good at getting on the internet and making noise.
Right.
So it worked out for us, but it just changed go to market.
Yeah. You know, and we've come so far, but I think there's so much that we as MSPs need to look at our businesses and think about how are we doing things differently? Because, you know, we talked a little bit, you know, before we started here, just that, you know, new employee starts at the MSP, regardless of what role they're in. It's like, all right, here's your laptop, here are your credentials, and go, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much from an educational perspective that, you know, we have let our MSPs, you know, we've let those employees learn as they go, and it's not a good thing.
It's not. I mean, as we talk to partners, we're feeling like maybe 15% of new hires actually have MSP experience and have done this before. And think about that. That means 85% of the people that you bring into your organization, if you're not lucky enough to find that unicorn who's been in the industry before to get into, has no idea what any of this is. They're probably coming out of a Best Buy for, you know, the Starbucks, and we're trying to help them figure out what's next in their life. And that resonates to me, because the guy who ended up running my service team before I sold my MSP started as a mason. He was literally laying block. Wow. He was a video gamer. He enjoyed computers and technology, and he wanted to get in and out of the cold. He didn't want to be out, you know, in 31-degree sleet, laying block, so that for a house that was coming in the next day. And so he basically said, you know, I'm willing to take a pay cut. I'm going to go do something different. I'm going to go try this MSP thing. We had to teach him from zero.
Yeah.
And what that meant was attach him to the smartest person in my organization, make them both equally unproductive for 90 or 120 days while we try and get the new guy up to speed. And that is really, really hard in an industry where we're already struggling with tightened margins and, you know, a business that's really trying to figure out how to be efficient and effective every single day.
So there's nothing wrong with, you know, hiring from outside of, you know, of our business. You know, somebody that,
there's not enough people in our business to not hire outside.
Right.
We have to go out and do it. So Sean Walsh said to me when we were starting Empath, he said, MSPs need to figure out how to become a talent factory. We need to figure out how to build our own internal talent, because there's just not enough of it out there to support where our businesses
So
are
when
going.
you think about some of the industries that are coming from, I just interviewed someone a little bit ago, and they were talking about how they were in the restaurant industry, and the things in the restaurant industry, from a process perspective, are just extremely valuable to what he is doing today. So with that being said, let's not let our employees struggle.
Right.
Let's those that are coming from outside the industry, let's give them the tools, because we know that they've got a special talent, and if we don't give them that ability to learn our business, they're not going to apply that.
Well, and restaurants is a perfect example. And Kyle likes to talk about hiring out of hospitality as well, like retail and things like that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
These are fantastic places to hire from. We think about the typical, the Saturday Night Live IT guy who's got just, absolutely zero EQ, terrible emotional intelligence, right? We're just terrible. But if you hire out of somebody who used to work for tips, or somebody who was trained to acknowledge the person as soon as they walk into the retail store, these are people who have the soft skills. They're going to do way better on the phone with your customer. They're going to create that better client experience.
Yep.
We just have to offer them the ability to scale up on the technical stuff.
Right.
And all that material exists. It's all out there. As we're building Empath, we're finding as much as we're a content creator, we're an aggregator of content as well, because there's a ton of great content out there. I was just talking to another live stream guy. I was just talking to Tom Lawrence earlier today about how we're orchestrating some business systems content just to make sure it's in front of MSPs and available to them and easily accessible to the right person at the right point in their career.
And I think that, so, that aggregation of that information, that information to help them, move the needle, take their business to the next level by better educating that talent that's coming outside of the industry. I think that aggregation is such a critical thing, because otherwise it's like, where do you get it from? Where do you find this information?
It's all out there, but how many MSPs have a spreadsheet that's like a bunch of links to content that's all over the place, and I don't know if anybody took it. I don't know if anybody actually took it. I don't know if they retained anything. I certainly don't know if they can actually demonstrate what they learned in a customer environment. So we've been doing this like wing and a prayer thing for just way too long, and that's kind of why Empath exists. But if you're not doing the spreadsheet, hey, it's a great place to start. It's free. Like go do that. But the more we can systematize this and make sure we have a repeatable experience for every new person that comes in and for every existing person. Yeah. You and I were talking about this as we were getting started. Like, our world has changed a lot since COVID. Like, we had COVID, life went crazy. We had cybersecurity on top of that. And then AI, ChatGPT launched November 30th. It'll be 3 years old.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
It's in everything. Every application you open on your computer is like, how about some AI, bro?
Right.
We haven't taught our teams how to use it yet. We haven't really been able to upskill our teams on it yet, because it's just everywhere, and we just assume that they know.
And that assumption of, we think that they know, they understand it, is the same thing, when it comes to all of our clients, as well, because, we just make these assumptions that, we take things for granted. You talk about, search versus like ChatGPT, right? Like, I don't remember the last time I used search.
I knew it was when I wanted something local. I wanted to know a restaurant that was local, and it'll put a pin on the map for me. Other than that, I'm talking to ChatGPT about it, because it's going to cut through the BS and find the things that Google has pushed to the second or third page so that I'll make 3 searches.
Right.
And it's just a world. The world is different. And what we have to realize is, even our customer probably isn't fully up to speed on it. And if our employees can't talk to our customer about it, our customer thinks they can figure it out.
Right.
Because they opened Notion this morning, and ChatGPT and AI was there. They opened HubSpot this morning, and AI was there. I learned yesterday that Adobe has an AI product wrapped in other stuff. So our customers are getting bombarded with it. And as we were talking to the guys at VCIO University yesterday, Chris Ryan shared a stat with us that only 17% of those who were polled in a big poll that they did said, like 85% said, we're interested in AI, we're working towards it. We've got only 17% said, I'm interested in my MSP following up with me to lead the charge. Which means they think that it's in front of them, so pervasive into their world that they can figure it out without us. And think about how scary that is.
That's scary.
They're going to go just stick the secret to their corporate environment, like things that should be private, should be sensitive, in some random GPT that's going to use that for learning data or training data, or be part of a subject to a breach later. That we don't even know the data's out there. We don't even know it's gotten there. And they're not willing to come talk to us about it, because we haven't taught our team how to go talk to them about the fact that they should be worried about these things, and that we really are capable of being the expert that helps them get up to speed on.
I mean, we look at shadow IT as being dangerous.
Shadow AI is the next one. Like this is the
even
the
more
next
dangerous.
conversation.
Yeah. And and the thing is, that's a testament to the relationship that you have with your clients, right? If you are only doing technology business reviews, well, if you're not even doing technology business reviews, holy cow.
Even if you are, most of us are going in with a pre-prepared script that says we do this, we do this, we do this. See you later.
Right.
How many of us have gone in and put the bullet point to say we need to talk about the new thing that's urgent? And 3 years ago it was cybersecurity. 4 years ago it was cybersecurity. Now it's, hey, what are you guys working towards on AI? What are the goals of your business?
Right.
And how is AI either going to support those or put them at risk?
Right.
Because we used AI incorrectly, we used the wrong AI. It's surfacing bad information to us, or worse, leaking information out the back door.
And I will say this over and over and over again. Every MSP needs to jump into their own business right now. Don't delay. Figure out how you're going to leverage AI in your own business to become more efficient, more productive, more secure, deliver a better client experience, and become more profitable, because you cannot have that conversation with your client about AI, automation, business outcome if you haven't done it yourself.
And your team's already using it.
Right.
Whether they admit to it or not, your team is already using it.
Yes.
We got programmed to share all of our personal information by social media,
Yes.
starting in the early days of MySpace and Facebook.
Right.
We share We Eat for lunch. We share the passwords for all of our the questions that help us answer all of our passwords, the security questions on it. We share that kind of information all day, every day,
All
on
those
the internet.
quizzes
Right?
and tests.
So now when we go to ChatGPT, we think nothing of typing the recipe for Coke into ChatGPT and going, if I added 2 more bubbles, would it be fizzier? This would be amazing, right?
Right.
We're having those kind of conversations with a ChatGPT agent that we have no idea where our data is going afterwards.
Right.
It's not just ChatGPT, every LLM.
Yeah.
We and our customers have been programmed that it's okay to share way more sensitive things than we probably should.
Right.
And it started so long ago that it is literally just ingrained into who we are today. And if we're not having a conversation with them to have a conversation with their people, we're failing.
Yeah. I mean, and how easy is it to literally go to whatever AI tool you're using, whether it be Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, and literally clicking that attach button, grabbing a spreadsheet, grabbing, an internal document, throwing it in there, having it analyzed. And this could be our secret sauce that we're throwing out there.
Yep. It's happening.
It is.
And I worry about it less for MSPs, although I worry about it for MSPs.
Yeah.
I worry about it less for them than I do for their customers.
Right.
So we've got to train every single member of our team to pick up on those kind of cues. Like if I'm an engineer and I log into somebody's workstation and I see an open ChatGPT window, or I see the little logo pinned to the taskbar down there, that should initiate a response from me right away that says, hey, I should raise my hand. I should go tell Dan that one of our customers is using AI and not one that we know of as sanctioned.
Yep.
And we should go have that conversation with that customer.
Right.
Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about teaching our own technicians just to go, hey, raise your hand and go, hey, you sold them Copilot, but they're using Gemini.
Right. Or they have the full, 365 suite, and they're asking for ChatGPT integration into Teams when you have Copilot, right? It's like, well, wait. So it's, first off, why haven't we had that conversation with them? I mean, we shouldn't be waiting for them to come to us to do something that really shouldn't be being done. We should be having those conversations in advance.
So we can't just assume that our team knows.
Right.
Our team, they're very smart people. They solve technical problems, but sometimes they lack that little bit of forward thinking to see, hey, this icon on a screen might mean a bigger problem 2, 3, 4 steps down the road. I need to be talking to our team about, hey, what are some signs you might see that your customer is doing something that could be dangerous to them?
Yep.
How can you extrapolate from an icon to an end problem? And I don't want my nerdiest technician to go have that conversation with the customer.
Yeah.
Just want them to raise their hand. You go, hey, account management team, hey, owner, hey, executive team. Somebody should go talk to XYZ client, right? Because something is happening there that we should decommission on. Just make sure that they're aware.
As we wrap things up here, I want to bring Empath into this a second. So you take a look at a lot of large organizations, enterprise organizations. They've got teams of people that are bringing educational content in to be able to educate their staff. The average MSP, I mean, if they could have that, that would be great. However, I think that's where you're trying to fill the void.
It is. The average MSP is 8 people.
Yes.
Show me who the chief learning officer is at an 8-person team, right? It's just,
Right.
it's not a thing. But MSPs have training all over the place.
Yep.
We have 27 vendor portals that each has training in it. Microsoft has a ton of it. The internet has a ton of it, right? YouTube is the largest content repository that's ever existed.
Yeah.
But there's no actual accountability and strategy to it. So what we're trying to build is a methodology that delivers strategy to learning. I take my tier 1 engineer and I teach him enough information to become a tier 2 engineer. Yeah, he wants to stay and work for me longer. He knows he has personal development goals, and he knows that we're going to leave him a better engineer than when he came to work for me. I've got the guy who doesn't want to be an engineer anymore that wants to train into an account management or a VCIO role.
Yeah.
How do I set them up for success to that? So we aggregate content from a lot of your large vendors, from the content that we create, and even some content that an MSP creates, and help them build a learning pathway for each person.
Yeah.
That says, here's who I want to be today, and here's who I want to be when I grow up. We can draw that dotted line between them, and then just hold them accountable to some personal growth as we have our one-on-ones with our team, or as we have our conversations with our team.
I mean, we talk about stickiness with our clients. We need to be talking about stickiness with our team members, our employees, because the more we invest into educating them, the more they're going to say, this is the company that I want to stick with.
There's a generation out there that cares way less about salary and way more about the fact that I feel enabled and supported and really good about what I do. And how do you make someone feel more enabled or supported than to say, Dan, I know that today you do a lot of printer tickets, but there's a better job for you. There's a better thing for you. And here's a pathway to get there.
Right.
And there's a generation right now that just wants that immediate. Like, hey, I just want you to just promote me, make me better, give me money.
Yeah.
What we have to do is slow them down and say, along with that job role comes a certain skill sets and capabilities. And as we train you and get you there, then you're a promotable human being. You're a human being who can deliver more value back to our customers, back to the organization, and we'll just leave you in a better place in your life.
Awesome. Alex, thank you so much.
Always fun, man.
Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for hanging out.
Everybody, appreciate you being here listening. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you for listening to The Stack.